I want to get on here and cause a scene, but, I'm not even mad, man. But the season is over. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to discuss the Washington Commanders losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 28-7 on Monday Night Football in Week 8. Guys, this is the 5 Names to Remember series. This is my official reaction to what we saw out there on the field. For those of you who are new around here, we will talk about what happened during the game, and then we will jump to the 5 players or coaches who stuck out for good, bad, and ugly reasons. I'll just start with the big picture overview, guys. We're 3-5. Our quarterback is injured. To what extent do we know exactly? No, we don't, but he's injured. Our big money receiver is injured. The best player on our defense is injured. Our franchise left tackle is injured. Everybody's injured. We are a walking hospital. Again, we're 3-5, 1-4 against the NFC. We've got the Seattle Seahawks on a short week while they're coming off of a bye. I don't really get how that's fair. And then after that, we're hosting the Detroit Lions. We are staring down the barrel of 3-7. And normally I would talk about the game and then get into what that means for the rest of the season. Not even that, just what that means for next week, next practice, next month. Adam Peters is going to be faced with a decision here pretty soon. If there's an off chance you win this game and you go to 4-5, then you're 5-5. You've got to go beat the Lions just to get to 500. And then in the back half of the season, you've got games against the Cowboys, at the Vikings, Broncos, 2 against the Eagles. I just don't see a realistic path to a winning record in a playoff appearance. And with only having 6 draft picks in the next draft, including not having your second, with this team being as old as it is, as injured as it is, it might just be time to become sellers at the deadline. But we are about to jump into my game reaction. Before we do that, guys, make sure you do hit the like button on this video. Also hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. And in case you guys missed it, I did launch the official Full Command Discord. So if you are a Commanders fan, you definitely want to check that out. It is free for everyone to join, but we do also have premium channels where if you join those, you will be eligible for things such as monthly giveaways. This month, at the end of this month, I'm giving away a jersey, so you want to make sure you're a part of that. We also have leaderboard contests. You get the opportunity to hop on stream with me. You can join those premium channels by becoming a member of the YouTube community. So to summarize there, like, subscribe, Discord, if you want to, premium channels as well. So let's talk about this game. Deebo Samuel, I tweeted out a picture of FBI Director Kash Patel because I thought Deebo Samuel was about to get pulled off the field and be... I probably shouldn't even be making this joke because this is bad. This is really sad what's happening in professional sports. I thought Deebo Samuel was about to be swept off the field and implicated in a gambling scandal. If you've been paying attention to what's going on in the NBA, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The offense is moving the ball, death by 1,000 paper cuts. They're using no huddle, but only so that the Chiefs don't get into anything exotic. They're not really snapping the ball quickly, which is smart because you're also keeping Mahomes on the sideline, tiring the defense out. The Chiefs defense was really not impressive in this game, even though they gave up 7 points. I know that sounds strange. Moving down the field, you're on the road, and you have a chance. There was a stat at the bottom. The Commanders have scored 7 opening drive points this season. That's the worst in the NFL. You have a chance to clearly score, probably a touchdown. Mariota throws a ball right to where a sniper would aim on a target, hits Deebo right here in the center of the forehead. Nobody around, and it bounces off his helmet, and it leads to an interception. And in that moment, I was thinking, it's over. Let's just get off the field. Lo and behold, the Chiefs start to march down the field, and Marshon Lattimore steps the hell up, completely locks up his receiver. I think it was Worthy, jams him up. Mahomes, he said after the game he threw the ball where he wanted to. I think after watching the film on that, he would take that back because he was a little inside. And Lattimore just jammed him up so well that he was running the route for the receiver. Mahomes threw it right to him, and then he catches the ball. So at the time in my notes, I always take notes during the game. In my notes, I said Marshon Lattimore just saved the game. That's how I felt on that play. Then as the game progresses, you get another interception from Bobby Wagner of all people. Marshon Lattimore and Bobby Wagner getting interceptions in the Big 25. What year are we in right now? But the story of that first half, and really the story of the game, was the offense failing to convert on their opportunities. When we've talked about playing complementary football, it's almost always been the defense letting down the offense. Today, not the case. The defense came out with their hair on fire. They came out like they were playing for the season. They were fast. They were physical. They were disruptive. First time in Mahomes' career, he threw 2 interceptions on the first 2 drives of the game, and the offense really does nothing for it. Mariota missed Ertz on that deep shot to Terry, where he missed Terry by like 20 yards on the 4th and 1. Ertz was wide open over the middle of the field. Mariota just didn't see him. Connerly got walked back by Karlaftis, gave up a big sack later in the game as well. There's a miscommunication between Cosme and Connerly. I think Cosme was at fault there. Could have been Mariota for all I know. Mariota could have ID'd the mic incorrectly. Not going to know exactly what happened on that play, but it was just weird. A free blitzer gets Mariota on the ground. He slams the ball in frustration. The Zach Ertz 4th down gaff. Now, I'm not the referees guy. I'm not the blame the referees, talk about the referees guy. They were horrible in this game. They missed every single call they could. And on that 4th down against Zach Ertz, look, I haven't trusted this NFL automated replay. I haven't trusted the NFL what do they call it? The new review system. I don't trust any of it. When they said Terry didn't score a touchdown on the play where he injured himself, when he quite clearly did, but they said, no, he didn't score, and it's irreversible. You cannot challenge this call, which they got wrong. I haven't trusted any of this. Zach Ertz, I got PTSD from the Steelers game last year. That is a 1st down. I don't give a damn what anybody says. In case anybody out there doesn't know, the virtual measurement system, there's not a microchip in the football that GPS tracks exactly where the football is. It's just a dude watching a screen. It's the chain gain, but instead of having to look up at the board to see the replay, they've got their own private monitor. It's still just some guy who's trying to make a judgment call, and he got it wrong. We got to figure that out, man. Now, Terry eventually makes a phenomenal concentration catch on that touchdown. We can talk all we want about Terry McLaurin doesn't post these huge numbers like these other number 1 receivers, and that's so true. But, dude, nobody else on the Commanders is making that catch, not justifying anything with Terry, how he handled the offseason, not justifying the contract, none of that. Just saying those are the moments where you go, oh, Terry McLaurin is currently playing football for this team. The Chiefs get the ball with a minute left going into halftime. We're all having flashbacks to the Cowboys who had 40 seconds and they go 80 yards and score a touchdown. The defense steps the hell up. I mean, Jacob Martin was a menace in this game, got a sack on the Chiefs' first pass of the game. Jeremy Reeves was blowing up screens left and right. And then here they stand tall. They don't let the Chiefs move down the field. There's a chance they get to like maybe 10, 15 yards away from field goal range. Trey Amos, huge PBU on the final play before halftime. Frankie Louvu gets a nice pressure after he had messed up his spy and let Mahomes scramble for a little bit. The defense did their thing again, man. And you felt the speed and the physicality of Jordan Magee. You felt the speed and physicality of Tyler Owens. Joe Whitt Jr., who I'm going to speak about a lot in just a moment, made a bunch of adjustments. They were playing like their contracts depended on them turning in a good performance. And we should have been winning 17-7, 21-7 going into halftime. And if Jaden Daniels, I don't think Mariota played poorly. I don't think he played well. And I also think Mariota being there combined with the lack of continuity in this offense influenced Cliff Kingsbury to call the game the way he did. Very gimmicky, very gadgety. But I think if Jaden Daniels is on the field, we are winning 17-7, 21-7. And we could have won that game, and it would have been because of the defense, which is something I can't remember saying in quite a long time. Now we get to the second half, and after that first drive, really before they scored, but especially after that point, the intensity, the energy, and the belief, they all just dropped very quickly. It looked a lot like the team and the defense we have seen all season long. And that's going to happen when the defense plays the way it does in the first half and doesn't get the support from the offense, knowing how injured they are, when the time of possession becomes that lopsided. There's just not much that you can do. If anybody is mad at how the defense looked to finish the fourth quarter, from a broader perspective, we can talk about individual mistakes, but overall, I think you're a little bit crazy on that one. After the Chiefs score that touchdown, Commanders obviously got to respond. Jalen Lane muffs the kickoff. It then goes out at the 1-yard line. Commanders get a first down, and then on their next third down, they throw it to Jalen Lane. He drops it. It is a bit of a difficult catch, but you're an NFL player, and that's a catchable pass, and you got to come up with it, and he doesn't. And Jalen Lane kind of single-handedly killed that drive. And when it's your first drive of the second half, needing to respond and match the Chiefs after you blew all those first half opportunities, that very much felt like the game is now over. And then the Chiefs go down, they take a 21-7 lead, and the game basically just slips away. So what went wrong? I mean, injuries have done this team no favors all season long. That's not breaking news. You don't need me to tell you that. In this game, we lost Laramie Tunsil. He went out. Brandon Coleman came in at left tackle. Coleman was only activated for the first time since week 2. Then Tunsil tried to come back, wasn't working. Coleman finished this game. And for what it's worth, Coleman played all right from what I could tell. Javon Kinlaw had to exit in the fourth quarter. Terry McLaurin aggravated his quad injury. Boy, is that great news. Now, I say that sarcastically. Now, he said after the game he's optimistic about it, but he doesn't know what his status is going to be like this week or moving forward. We were optimistic Terry was going to miss no time or maybe just 1 week. He ended up missing a month, so I don't know what's going to happen there. Johnny Newton injured his ankle. He did come back in the game and have a sack and a roughing the passer call, but still, is that ankle going to knock him out for a week? I don't know. It's just the injuries. They are killing us, dude. The offense didn't do its job playing complementary football. Defense, I can't say enough. I thought they were totally incapable of producing a performance like the one they did tonight, and they did it. But we needed to have a halftime lead considering the opportunities they gave us. Considering the Chiefs gave the ball away at the lowest rate in the NFL, considering we were the second worst team at taking the ball away, that script totally flipped. The Deebo play, Mariota missing Ertz, the referees blowing that fourth down call, all of it just added up. Us not being able to run the football, it all added up. And a 7-7 game, you're not going to win in that circumstance. Without your starting quarterback on the road at Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes, it's not happening. Before I get to some numbers and then the 5 names to remember, I do just want to ask a general question. If you're out there and you're upset with Joe Whitt Jr., why? I would like you to pause this video and go to the comment section and let me know why you are mad at Joe Whitt Jr. Now, I've heard the conversations about scheme. I've heard it about coaching on the practice field. I've heard it about personnel. I've heard everything, and I have been frustrated with Joe Whitt Jr. If you've been watching my channel, you know that. Literally, what do you want him to do? He went 3-4 in this game. Sainer still was benched. Tyler Owens was starting. Now, Sainer still finished with more snaps, but Owens did start the game. He did start the second half in that slot spot. Jordan Magee played 58 of 69 available defensive snaps. You got Frankie Louvu moved to edge. You saw different combinations. The communication on the pre-snap motion was the best it's been this entire season, and the Chiefs are right up there at the top of the league for the teams that are the most difficult to keep tabs on when they are using that pre-snap motion. I've heard some people say that, oh, we needed to send more blitzers at Mahomes. We needed to play more man coverage, things like that. I said this in my game preview. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL at beating zone coverage, and everybody knows that. Yet he faces zone coverage at an extremely high rate because every defensive coordinator in the league also knows he is the best quarterback against man coverage. He is going to kill you with deep shots. Travis Kelce had 99 receiving yards in this game. He would have had 200 if you were running man coverage on him. With the way the Commanders weren't generating pressure, and I get it, that's the obvious thought. Oh, we're not generating pressure, so let's bring extra blitzers. Well, Mahomes was eating us alive with his legs. When you're in man coverage, you get the players on the back end turning their back. Mahomes just slips out of the pocket and he's gone, you're going to think to yourself, oh, okay, well, why don't we just add a spy? So you're going to have 5 players blitzing Mahomes, at least 5, let's say 5. And then you're also going to have a QB spy, and then you're going to have man coverage on the back end. So you're really offering your guys no support, knowing how bad of a job Quan Martin, Mike Sainristil, Marshon Lattimore have done in man coverage this season. Your plan is to leave them exposed like that. And I'm not saying you can't mix in these looks every once in a while, but what I am saying is Joe Whitt Jr., considering he had said, we're just not communicating, we can't figure out what the adjustments are supposed to be, so we're going to simplify the play calls. He did exactly what he said he would. He simplified the play calls, and it worked. Look at how the first half played out. We should not be upset that Patrick Mahomes won the war of attrition against a bad defense that was very injured, lost its best player in Javon Kinlaw, had lost maybe what had been its best player in Dorrance Armstrong up to that point. Come on, guys. We just got to be realistic here. Joe Whitt Jr. did basically everything he could. He added speed to the field with Magee and Owens. He gave you different looks with the 3-4. He let Marshon Lattimore press up when it was man coverage. He was pressing up. Even in zone, you get cover 3 buzz. Lattimore was up there. So again, if you're frustrated with Joe Whitt Jr., please go to the comment section and let me know why, because I truly feel like he did everything he could. And I walked away from this game, I don't want to say proud, because I don't know the man. I don't own the team or anything like that, but I was most pleased with Joe Whitt Jr., arguably of anybody that was involved in this game. Some quick stats before we jump to the 5 names to remember. As I mentioned, Jordan Magee played 58 of 69 possible defensive snaps. Love seeing that. Tyler Owens also got 25. Mike Sainristil got 49. Bobby Wagner got all 69. Kane Medrano got 0. Frankie Luvu had 61 snaps. 49 of them were on the defensive line. He was basically a full-time edge. And look, I'll say this. Frankie Luvu is not an edge rusher. He's just simply not. He's not good enough as a pass rusher. He's not big enough to set the edge against the run. But in this situation, using the 3-4 front where he had the other defensive tackles up on the line with him, this is the best way we can go forward. If we want to be as competitive as possible, this is what it needs to look like. Brandon Coleman got on the field, like I mentioned, did well in a pinch. Josh Connerly continues to struggle. I don't know who is responsible between him, Mariota, and Cosme on that free blitzer that got the sack in the 4th quarter. I know that he did get walked back by Karlaftis. He gave up a team-high 4 pressures in this game. He was drafted for his potential, so I am trying not to cast judgment onto a guy who's only 2 months into his NFL career. Again, he's a down-the-line sort of player, so we'll have to circle back, and it's boring. I get it. It's boring for me to say that. We're going to have to circle back next year, the year after, but right now he's just not at a very good NFL standard. And I believe that does it for everything I wanted to touch on, so let's transition to the 5 names to remember. Here we are in the next screen, and we are going to start it off with a green square for Mr. Joe Whitt Jr. I went over all of the changes he made. That was by far the best half of defense we've seen from this team, not only this season, potentially since this new regime came in, since the start of last season. They forced 2 turnovers on the first 2 drives from Mahomes, something no team he had ever faced in his NFL career had done. They got another ball out late in the game. Lattimore had a chance to dive on it, tried to scoop it, and that allowed Rashee Rice to recover it. But Darnell Savage gets in there. I think it was Savage. Peanut punches it out while he's making the tackle. They did everything they could, genuinely. And the simplified defense at the very end of the game, going against the smartest and best quarterback in the NFL, yeah, of course, he was finally able to take advantage of it. But it took him a long time to get there. The defense did more than enough to win this game had the offense taken its opportunities, and they did not. For someone who has been under the spotlight in the pressure cooker as much as he has, considering how many injuries he's had to deal with, I thought Joe Whitt Jr. was outstanding on Monday night. So green for Joe Whitt. Now we're going to go to someone who was not outstanding. And give me just 1 second here. This is me paying respect This is me putting on a gold jacket. This is my gold jacket for Bobby Wagner, a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best linebackers, one of the best defensive players in the history of the NFL. Someone who's meant so much to the NFL, someone who meant so much to allowing us to get to the conference championship game last year, being a leader, helping reinvent the franchise. That was the Bobby Wagner retirement game. That was where I looked at it and said, he just does not need to be a professional athlete anymore. And if Bobby wants to keep playing, I don't make his decisions, man. Bobby Wagner's way more successful than I will probably ever dream of being. So who am I to him? But I can tell you, not just as a fan, but as someone who tries to analyze everything that's going on, he just stuck out like a sore thumb. First and foremost, in that first half, with Tyler Owens, and I know Owens isn't a linebacker, but he was playing in the slot, so he was in areas adjacent to Bobby, sometimes filled in the same zones. Having him and Jordan Magee on the field felt just like a world of difference. I could not believe how it felt like we were on the cutting edge. We felt fast, physical, aggressive in the middle of the field. With Reeves playing a part in this too, and same thing, he doesn't play linebacker, but he'll crash down, he'll be in the box. The way they were able to disrupt screens, fly out sideline to sideline, get over the traffic in the middle of the field to stop outside runs. It was night and day to everything that we have experienced with this defense. And then as the game went on, my younger viewers here will know what I mean when I say this. He was just aura defending. To anyone who doesn't know, it's a meme. And when they say, it's actually originated, I think, from soccer. But as a player gets older, a great player, they say that that player uses their aura to stop players coming at them. You know, people are afraid of them and they don't realize, oh, this guy's old and he stinks now. So it's like Bobby Wagner was standing there like, hey, I'm Bobby Wagner. I am a Hall of Famer. You cannot get past me. When they ran to his side of the field, it was an automatic 7 or 8 yards as long as they weren't in the A gap. I would say outside the B gap, it might have even been the B gap. Just anything to force him to take a step sideways instead of forward. Automatic chunk play for the running game. Defensively, against the passing coverage, he was just... It sounds disrespectful for me to continually point these things out, and I don't intend it to because Bobby is a legend. But early on in the game, it was 2nd and 14, I think. 2nd and 14 after Reeves and Magee had blown up a screen. Bobby and Mikey miscommunicate, take the same guy, leaves Rashee Rice wide open for a 12-yard gain. They still get a 3rd down after that, but Chiefs end up converting. But another big play where there's just another miscommunication involving Wagner. The touchdown pass to Kareem Hunt. Bobby's got him. Hunt's on a little Texas route. Bobby's got him in man coverage. You get to the middle part of the end zone, and he seems to want to pass it off to Tyler Owens. That doesn't get communicated. It's a touchdown for the Chiefs. I don't know who's at fault there because we don't know what the call is. I can say it's a little weird. It's not normally a situation when you're in the red zone, especially that close. I think the ball was snapped from the 2-yard line. When you're that close to the goal line, man coverage is usually man coverage. We're not usually passing things off. But even if we are, it's another miscommunication involving Bobby Wagner. He plays a part in that at the very least, even if Owens was supposed to pick him up. And then at the end of the game, the final touchdown to Rashee Rice, the 18-yarder where he comes across the middle of the field. I mean, Wagner, it's like Wagner just gave up before he even really tried to do anything to stop him. That's his man. He's supposed to go with him. And he kind of just takes a couple of shuffle steps towards him and then never turns to run with him. He's like, I've got no hope. I genuinely, if the other team is not running straight forward, I don't know what the purpose of having Bobby is on the field. Bobby on the field is right now. And again, I don't mean that disrespectfully to one of the greatest players the NFL has ever seen. But right now in 2025, he is terrible, flat out. So we were told Kane Medrano would get opportunities. He did not. I'm not going to complain too much because Tyler Owens and Jordan Magee got a lot of reps, but would like to see Medrano and Magee in the middle of that box moving forward. Would like to see, if it's not full-time, that's fine. I'm not saying we got to cut Bobby or anything, but he is not a part of the future. The present is us building for the future. So short of allowing him to leave with some dignity, not just benching him, let's let some younger guys get some opportunities. A yellow box for Deebo Samuel. He did not necessarily lose us the game, but certainly he played a part in preventing us from winning it. First possession of the game, I get it, a lot happens after that, but man, we had to score there. It wasn't a difficult catch. It wasn't under pressure. It was a perfect placement. There is nobody at fault for anything on that play aside from Deebo Samuel. And his lack of concentration, his mental mistake created an interception. And that, again, played him. We just had to score there, man. I mean, we go into halftime tied 7-7. We score there. It's 10-7. It's 14-something at the very least. He finishes this game with 3 receptions for 11 yards, 1 carry for 1 yard. Didn't play last week. The week before that, 4 receptions for 14 yards. He started the year playing outstanding. The limited playbook definitely does not help because Deebo is someone who needs that expansive passing game on the back end to open up what he does best. But first of all, he's not creating those. He's not being a part of that expansive passing game, and he's not finding a way to really contribute. Over the last 3 weeks, he basically hasn't existed in the offense. So a yellow for Deebo Samuel, a guy who started the year very, very impressively for us, has all of a sudden become a total non-factor. We're going to close this video out with 2 greens, which might sound weird in a loss, but again, there were impressive players. I thought the performance in many ways was relatively impressive. Jacob Martin, I'll give a green to him. And before I jump into that, obviously I'm not impressed with where we're at in the season. I'm not impressed with losing games, but I'm not going to act as if guys didn't do their best. And Jacob Martin was one of those guys. 4 pressures, 2 sacks, a season-high 47 snaps, gave an electric pregame speech, so much so that I was ready to give him a blank check. And why don't I take this off? Because Jacob Martin, respectfully, not currently a Hall of Famer. He's got time to try to change that. And the way he's playing the last couple of weeks, ever since he got his opportunity against Dallas, he has been a straight-up killer. I would really like to see more Jacob Martin reps moving forward. I think he's earned that right. I would like to see him back on the team next year. He looks like a real dude, and especially when you can keep him fresh, rotating in. When Dorrance Armstrong comes back, if we sign or trade for a big-name edge rusher guy to really soften up the defense or to command more respect from opposing offensive lines, Jacob Martin's been putting in work, man. So I wanted to make sure that I gave him a shout-out. And a man who has been criticized more than anyone else by Commanders community, it's a green for Marshon Lattimore. Fair is fair, and I don't say that as if I'm disappointed. I'm excited. I wanted Marshon Lattimore to work out. Why did I want any of my players to fail? He hasn't played well, and I've called him out on that, but he played extremely well in this game, and he deserves to hear the same praise he gets to match the criticism he's received. The only time he got his name called was really with the interception, and that's a good thing. We love interceptions. He was locking his man up when he was pressing. He was getting good jams at the line, zone, man. He was effective. He played the run well. Considering what Mahomes was doing, how much time he was buying, Lattimore felt like he was in the right spots. Now, I haven't been able to go back and watch all of the plays from the All-22, but from what I did see on the TV and from the couple plays that I have seen, he seemed to be in the right spots. He seemed to be doing a very good job. He forced the interception again. And just the timing of that, considering it was backed up. We were backed up in our red zone right after Deebo had made his mistake. For Lattimore to do that and say, hey, no. Like I said, when I wrote down my notes, I said Lattimore saved the game. Lattimore said, hey, don't worry about it. We're still going to win this game. We're going to come out here and fight like the season is on the line. Lattimore, truly one of the standout players today. Or not today. Recording this the day after, on Monday night. So, to recap here, I'm going to give a green to Joe Whitt Jr., a red to Bobby Wagner, a yellow to Deebo Samuel, a green to Jacob Martin, and a green to Marshon Lattimore. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and head on out of here. Before you do, make sure you leave a like on the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Go to the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Also, join the Discord. I will leave a link to it at the top of the description. It's a place for conversation. We had a bunch of people in there talking about the game as it was happening. I'll be sharing breaking news updates. You get more conversations with me. And then also we do have the premium channels, like I mentioned, where I'm giving away monthly prizes. At the end of this month, I'm giving away a jersey. You get the opportunity to hop on stream with me, all that great stuff. So I'm head on out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all joining me. Have a great day.